All 3 parts are in the link in the description.
Live from the Golden Star stage in the middle of, you guessed it, God knows where, it's the Marvel Nerd 2016's Top 10 Best Movies of 2024. With your host, as always, the Marvel Nerd 2016, who is clueless, but he's ready to host the show.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the second annual Marvelous Awards, aka the Best Movies of the Year list. Now, as you all know, 2 weeks ago, I got teleported into a completely different stage. So it's strange how we're not back at the Golden Triangle stage, but hey, this will do. So yeah. As usual, I'm going to talk about the movies which I really loved in the previous year, and for the number one list, they'll get this Marvelous Award for Best Movie of the Year. So, yeah. What are we waiting for? Let's get to the list! Oh, come on! Louder! Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Alright. Let's get to number 10. Coming in at number 10, we got Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Now, this movie was an absolute blast. Okay, did have a few nitpicks here and there, but this was fun. So first, let's talk about the positives. So, first of all, I loved that in the movie, we didn't get that much screen time for the human characters. Although, Donut Lord and Maddie, they were fun characters in the previous two movies. But they did have way too much screen time in the second movie. Oh my goodness, especially the whole wedding segment. But luckily, in this one, there was no wedding segment or just random segments where it's just the human characters. And also, I loved the voice performances from Ben Schwartz, Idris Elba, and of course, Keanu Reeves as Shadow the Hedgehog. Because not only he did a outstanding voice performance in the movie, every time Shadow the Hedgehog was on screen, I was getting constant chills. And hell, I really liked how the movie took a dark turn at times. And also, Jim Carrey was funny, as always, as Dr. Eggman. And I really liked how in the movie we got introduced to Gerald, and he was also played by Jim Carrey himself, and they were both funny. And hell, I even laughed out loud a few times when they were on screen. But there were times where they were shoving the goofiness a bit too much, but overall, it was still an awesome movie. And the action scenes were incredible in the movie, especially the opening Tokyo fight. And the references to Akira were really cool. As someone who isn't quite familiar to the Sonic lore or Shadow's lore, to be specific, I think the movie did a really good job of introducing the backstory to Shadow without the need of doing all this research. But I did learn a few tad bits of Shadow's backstory thanks to Freezy Films, which I consider subscribing to him. And let's go into some tiny nitpicks. So, just like what I said, the movie did get a bit too goofy at times, but overall, it was still fun. And also, Shadow the Hedgehog needed more screen time in this movie. But it makes sense. It's called Sonic the Hedgehog 3, so yeah. And also, what was up with Tails' voice? His voice was a tad bit off. They didn't bring Colleen back, who did voice act Sonic in Sonic 2, so that was strange. But hey, this was still a really fun film. I wouldn't say that it's the greatest movie of all time, but hey, this was fun. And I am looking forward to see how this Sonic franchise continues with Sonic 4. And yeah, on to number 9. Coming in at number 9, we got We Live in Time. Now, this movie was sad and heartwarming. Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh deliver an amazing performances in the movie. And hell, I didn't even see Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man in this. Nah, instead I saw him as your average British bloke who does Weetabix commercials. And Florence Pugh, I didn't see her as Yelena Belova, aka Crimson Widow, which makes sense because, you know, this ain't no Marvel movie. So yeah, the chemistry between Tobias and I forgot what Florence Pugh's character was called.
First Twisters know this. Her name was Almut.
But let's just call her Florence, or we'll just call them by the actors' names because whatever. I haven't rewatched it. I really liked how the chemistry didn't feel too predictable. Like, it felt very realistic compared to most of the other romance movies which you get on Netflix and everything. And also, I also liked how the movie was split into, well, it wasn't even split. It told, like, it bounced around bits of their lives, like before they met each other, and before Florence Pugh got pregnant, and before this, after this, that, da. A few times it was a tad bit confusing when it wasn't going chronological, but overall that was just a slight little nitpick. And yeah, and the movie was very depressing at times, especially when we get to the parts of Florence Pugh's character having cancer, right? And there was one scene where it kind of killed the moment, where Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield, they're having like this conversation with the doctor about Florence Pugh's cancer, right? And then out of nowhere, they start having celebrations, you know, those chocolates. Well, if y'all don't live in England, then you'll probably don't know what I'm talking about. So they have like the celebration chocolate, and it did felt a tad bit out of place, but hey, this was still a good movie. And also, how the hell did this movie have all these advertisements saying that it's the best romance movie of all time? Bruh, if we had this movie on a scale from genres, right? This movie is mostly drama. Like, the drama's up here, right? And romance is right over here, like, right where my J's are. That's where the romance is. So, yeah. But overall, this was a very heartwarming and gut-wrenching drama film. And, hell, I am shocked how Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh didn't get any nominations, and instead Emilia Perez, that got more nominations than most of the movies which I'm about to talk about in this list. So yeah, but I'm not really too bothered about it. But I do wish that Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield got the nominations, or hell, maybe they could have even given Best Original Screenplay. But hey, whatever. This ain't the Oscars. So yeah. Okay. So my final rating for We Live in Time is an 8.6 out of 10. Yep, this movie was truly heartwarming. Sometimes it got a bit confusing, but it felt real and mature, and yeah. On to number 8. Coming in at number 8, we got Back to Black. Now, this movie was pretty good. I really liked the actress who plays Amy Winehouse in the movie. I felt like she did a really good performance as Amy Winehouse. At times, her London accent was a tad bit on the nose, but overall, she performed well. And I also really liked the cinematography. The cinematography was pretty good and well shot in the movie, but it wasn't as good as a movie which is coming up later on the list. So yeah, and also I liked how the story did a really good job of balancing out the parts between Amy's drug addiction and the music parts really well. And hell, even her relationship stuff with Blake and how the movie makes you feel really bad for Amy Winehouse. I also like how the movie dives into how fame can be a pain in the ass at times, especially with the parts of Amy Winehouse being chased by the paparazzi and everything. And I thought those scenes were pretty good. Now, on to some minor negatives. I felt like the movie was a bit too depressing at times. I understand that Amy Winehouse's life was a bit messy, but they could have at least added like some highlights from Amy Winehouse's life. For example, this clip.
Yeah, it was a bit shit.
But yeah, overall, I enjoyed Back to Black. I know this might be a bit of a hot take. Yeah, I know. Alright. No need to throw those tomatoes. God. Alright, so my final score for Back to Black is a 8.4 out of 10. Yep, it wasn't as higher compared to Sonic or We Live in Time, but overall, I had a good time with Back to Black, and hell, it did make me cry at the end, but not as much as Elvis and Better Man and Bohemian Rhapsody as well. But overall, it was much better than Bob Marley. So, yeah. On to number 7. Coming in at number 7, we got Civil War. This movie gave me chills. I loved the performances from Christian Dunst, Thufir Hawat. I don't know what the actor is called, but I'm just gonna call him Thufir Hawat because he's Thufir Hawat in Dune. So yeah, whatever. I really loved Kaylee Spaney's performance, and hell, I might even say that she did a much better performance in Civil War compared to Alien Romulus. And also, all of the photography scenes were very disturbing because this movie showcases a lot of detail into how war could be like, and or not even war, but just like a civil war, and how messed up and violent it could get. And hell, the movie gave me chills, and all of the action scenes where it involved helicopters and snipers, I was on the edge of my seat, especially because there was this one scene where Jesse Plemons holds Kaylee Spaney's character in hostage, and then he's like, oh, "Which state are you from?" "Arizona." "Which part of Arizona?" "You're from China." Boom! And during that part of the movie, I was in complete shock. I feel really sad that I didn't catch this one in cinemas. During that time, I was kind of broke, so I didn't really go to the movies that much. But I did catch this one on Apple TV, and this was really good. I feel happy that I watched it, and after watching Civil War, and seeing how the movie does get pretty political, and hell, at times it does feel very realistic, and it kept on making me think, wait a minute, what if that happens in real life? Like, what if America went total apeshit and we all started fighting. But luckily, I don't live in America, so yeah. Okay, on to my rating. So, Civil War gets a 9.2 out of 10. Okay, so far this is the only movie which is rated higher on this list, but you'll see what the other movies are going to be rated soon. But yes, this movie was absolutely terrific. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time from beginning to end. And the movie was disturbing, not super duper disturbing where I just went like, but just disturbing in a way where you feel like you're in the movie, and you feel like everything, like every gun scene and a photography scene of Kristen Dunst or Kaylee Spaney taking photos of the carnage and destruction which is going on. You really start thinking to yourself, oh my goodness, this could happen at any moment. Okay, let's just move on to number 6.
He needs some milk.
Coming in at number 6, we got The Fall Guy. Y'all see what I did there? Because, I've just fallen over, so yeah, anyways. Okay, The Fall Guy. So, first of all, this movie was a lot of fun. At first, I didn't have too much expectations from it. All I just thought was that it was just going to be just a fun movie about stunt doubles and everything. But overall, the movie isn't just that. Like, there is some romance sprinkled on there with Ryan Gosling's character and Emily Blunt. And the funny thing is, the year before that, it was Barbenheimer. And it's funny how we got Emily Blunt, who was in Oppenheimer, and Ryan Gosling, who was in Barbie, and boom, they're in The Fall Guy together, which was pretty cool. And speaking of, Ryan Gosling did a really good performance in this movie. I thought his character was very funny. And same thing with Emily Blunt's character. I thought her character was also pretty good as playing this director. And yeah, and their chemistry in the film was pretty good. And I liked how the movie dives into how stunt doubles don't get that much credit compared to other people in the film industry. And hell, while I was watching the movie, I just constantly kept on thinking to myself, yeah, how come the stunt doubles don't get that much recognition outside from Jackie Chan and Tom Cruise, where they do their own stunts? But what about the doubles? The only slight nitpicks which I had with The Fall Guy was the villains. They were very forgettable. There was this one producer villain and the other one which was like a twist villain. They were pretty forgettable, but overall, this movie was a lot of fun. At times, it gave me the vibes of your 1980s action movies, I was about to say Mission Impossible, but that came out in the 90s, not the 80s. My partner wants to say Terminator, but that's completely different. But yeah, I really enjoyed The Fall Guy. I've only seen The Fall Guy once, but I really want to rewatch it at some point, so yeah. And my rating for The Fall Guy is a 9.5 out of 10. Yep, this movie was honestly a blast. I had a lot of fun with it, and just like with Furiosa, how the hell did this movie not receive that much money in the box office? Bruh. We need more movies like The Fall Guy, where it's funny, and at the same time, it has heart to it, and yeah. But I'm just gonna be for real with y'all. I don't think Ryan Gosling's performance in The Fall Guy was as good as Ken in Barbie. So yeah. On to number 5. Coming in at number 5, we got a movie which I've waited for 9 years, and it succeeded my expectations, and that movie was Inside Out 2. Now, this movie was really good. Well, it was funny, it was heartfelt, just like the previous film, and I liked how the movie brings back some of the returning voice performances, but unfortunately they didn't bring back Mindy Kaling as discussed, which makes sense because Mindy Kaling was too busy working on trash. But overall, the voice performances were really good, and I liked how in this movie they introduced anxiety and how anxiety messes with Riley's mind. And also, I really love some of the new emotions in this movie. And to be honest, I think my favorite one is probably the ennui emotion. I thought she was funny, but some of the new emotions, like outside of anxiety, they didn't really get to do much in the movie. But overall, they had some pleasant, decent screen time. And I think for the nitpicks, the movie wasn't as emotionally impactful compared to Inside Out 1. There was this one scene where I was trying to replicate that one scene where Joy and Bing Bong end up in the pit of forgotten emotions, and you know she picks all the emotions up and everything and blah blah blah. When I saw that they were replicating that scene and in Inside Out 2, I instantly thought to myself, really? Okay, now it just feels like a copy and paste. At times, the movie did feel like a rehash to the first Inside Out, but overall, this was a fun and cute, and at the same time, anxiety-inducing movie as well. So, yeah, for my final rating for Inside Out 2, it is a 9.6 out of 10. Yeah, the movie was fun, and at the same time, it does have a really good message about not being jealous and just at the same time letting go of things that are holding you back thanks to fear and anxiety, or just mostly anxiety because, you know. But yeah, this was a really good movie, but it wasn't as good as something else which is coming up on the list. And it's animated as well, and to be honest, I think it was a lot better than Inside Out 2, but hey, this was still good, so yeah. On to number 4. Coming in at number 4, we got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Now, I loved the world building in this movie. I thought the movie did a really good job of showcasing how society has been overruled by apes, and how 300 years later, Caesar has now become the Jesus of the apes. And yeah, the characters in this movie, they weren't as good as the characters in the Matt Reeves trilogy, or hell, not even the OG 1960s Planet of the Apes. Yes, I've watched them. I've literally did an entire binge watch of all of the Planet of the Apes movies before watching Kingdom, except I didn't watch Underneath the Planet of the Apes or Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Anyways, we're not talking about the OG movies. We're talking about now. So, yeah, the characters weren't really the best. Noah was a decent character, right? But he didn't give off the same exact vibe or motivation compared to how Caesar was in the previous movies. But I liked the human character of May. Yeah, she was an alright character. And Proximus Caesar was a excellent villain in the movie. Like, every time he was on screen, he gave me chills, especially when he said, "What a wonderful day!" the final fight between Noah and Proximus Caesar gave me chills, and I liked how the movie also has like open doors for a new Planet of the Apes trilogy. And hell, I can't wait. I can't wait to see how they're gonna continue with the story and see where Noah and May are going to go next. But to be honest, I think in the next movie, I think May might be like a bit of a villain, especially because humans are enslaved, and yeah. And to be honest, if I was in the world of Planet of the Apes, then I would not be recording a YouTube video right now. I'm pretty sure an ape would be recording the video right now. But yeah, and the funny part is, I loved Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. But there's another movie which came out recently, which involved an ape, and it made me emotional. A lot more emotional than War for the Planet of the Apes. Now, for my final rating for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is a 9.7 out of 10. Honestly, I don't think that this was as good as Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, but overall this was a nice, fresh new start for the Planet of the Apes franchise, and I am looking forward to see what's next. Now, let's dive into number 3. Coming in at number 3, we got Deadpool and Wolverine. And I've talked about this movie 2 times on my channel, or 3 if you count my 4K unboxing video. And honestly, this movie was a blast to sit through, especially because every time Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool was on screen, they were funny. The whole buddy cop duo or enemies to friends dynamic was funny. And not only that, but the cameos were shocking and it took me by surprise. The action, as always with these Deadpool movies, it was brutal, and at the same time it was fun. And honestly, Sean Levy did an incredible job making this entire movie, and also this movie was a excellent send-off to the X-Men Fox movies. And speaking of it, it was a much better send-off to the X-Men Fox movies compared to whatever the hell Dark Phoenix was. Exactly. Everyone's looking at you, Dark Phoenix. Nobody liked you. Nobody. Nitpick-wise, the plot wasn't really the best. And also, I really wish that Dopender could have had more screen time in the movie, especially because he was one of my favorite parts of the previous 2 Deadpool movies. Like, he was funny and everything, and it sucks how he wasn't in the movie, but hey, no worries. At least we got to see Deadpool and Wolverine fight each other once again, and also, we even got to see the yellow suit. Finally, after 20 fucking years. Y'all got the reference, right? Yeah. So yeah. Now I've already gave my rating for Deadpool and Wolverine in my spoiler review, but if you guys haven't seen my spoiler review because y'all aren't able to sit through a 58-minute video of just me yapping about Deadpool and Wolverine, then Deadpool and Wolverine gets a 8.6 out of 10. Sure, it's a lot lower compared to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and The Fall Guy, but this was fun, and it was a much better MCU film compared to everything else that's been coming out lately in the MCU. Outside of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, that was good. So yeah, and just like what I've said with last year about multiverse movies, this is kind of a way to make multiverse films with cameos, and that's how you do it. That's how you treat them with respect. And I'm looking at you, Multiverse Madness. Yep. I know that I've dissed you last year, but I'm still gonna diss you this year. And I'm probably gonna diss you again by the time, I don't know, Avengers Doomsday comes out. But yeah, and since 2024 was the year of the popcorn buckets, I decided to fetch one myself. His name is Steve.
I'm Steve.
Anyways, on to coming in at number 2, we got The Wild Robot. Now, this movie took me by surprise, especially because the trailers didn't really sell me. At first I thought that was just going to be your average quote-unquote kids movie, but at the same time I did have faith with The Wild Robot, especially since it was made by DreamWorks. So yeah, so I went in, watched it, and I thought to myself, wow, this shit was beautiful, absolutely magnificent, magnificent. Okay, first of all, the voice acting in this movie was tremendous, especially from Lupita Nyong'o, and honestly, she did an incredible voice performance as Roz, but not only that, but at the same time, she sounded robot-y. Transformers 1, I suggest y'all should take some notes.
Huh? Fuck you!
So yeah, the voice acting was incredible, and I didn't even know that Pedro Pascal was in this movie. I think he played the fox, I think. I don't know, I can't remember. I haven't rewatched The Wild Robot in a long time. But not only that, but I really love how the movie gets really deep at times, especially since it dives into subjects like motherhood and raising a child. And hell, a few times I was very teary-eyed, especially during the montage where Roz tries to teach the little goose how to fly and everything, and honestly, I was in complete tears. Like, I never thought in a million years I would cry to that. But yeah, though, the movie does pull on your heartstrings, and it's very deep. Like, hell, to be honest, I think it's much more deep compared to Inside Out 2. That was still a great movie, though, so yeah, but not only that, but the animation was breathtaking. Like, sure, it did feel very Spider-Verse-y, but at the same time, it was trying something new with the colors and the style of The Wild Robot. And not only that, but the music was moving, and especially that the main theme, which goes like this. Man, I felt like if I was flying. I felt like if I was flying with the goose, or goose, gosling, whatever. But yeah, I was completely blown away with The Wild Robot. Like I said, I didn't have too much expectations for The Wild Robot. Well, just like what I said earlier, I had faith in it because DreamWorks made it, so yeah. Okay, so for my final rating for The Wild Robot, it's a 10 out of 10. Yep, we have our first 10 out of 10. Honestly, I don't think I have any nitpicks with The Wild Robot. And when I was making this list, it was pretty difficult putting the Wild Robot over the next movie, over the list because a part of me did want to put this in number 1, but then last year I did watch another movie which blew me away, but I was a bit critical with it at first, so yeah. But before diving into the big winner, let's talk about some honorable mentions. Alright, so I know that I didn't do this last year, but here are 2 of my honorable mentions of 2024. Now, first movie is Better Man. Now, I didn't catch this one in cinemas in December, but I did watch it at the beginning of February, and it's still a 2024 release, so it counts. And this is my channel, so...
And I can do whatever the fuck I want.
So, Better Man was incredible, honestly. I didn't know that I was going to cry to it that much. At first, I thought it was just going to be goofy at first, especially because when I saw the trailers, I just thought to myself, what? Why is Robbie Williams making himself into an ape? But I gave it a shot, so yeah, and I feel happy that I watched it. It was incredible. It was creative. It was honestly one of the most tremendous movies I've seen, and I am shocked how this movie only has 1 Oscar nomination just for Best Visual Effect.
Bruh.
Overall, this movie is a 9.9 out of 10. It was fantastic. And the next movie on my honorable mentions section is A Quiet Place, Day One. Now, it's a prequel to A Quiet Place, and it handled it very well. I really felt like they handled the origin of where these monsters came from very well, and Lupita Nyong'o did a excellent performance in the movie. At first, her character was a slight bit bitchy, but at the end, like the more the movie went on, the more I rooted for her and the other guy to survive. So yeah, it kept me on the edge of my seat. And this is how you should do a horror movie. Without any disgusting stuff, without any pregnancy, just keep it nice and simple and scary. Anyways, on to the big one. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now here comes the big part of the night. The number 1 best movie of 2024. And just like last year, it's in my Batman versus Superman notes. So, yeah. And the number 1 best movie of 2024 goes to...
Again.
Doom Part 2! Here you go, Denis Villeneuve. Here, take your award. And my apologies about Dune 1, by the way. That was a long time ago, but here it is.
Thank you, the Marvel Nerd, for this award, and apologies accepted. Making these 2 Dune movies have honestly become a dream come true. At one point people thought that Dune was unfilmable, but I've changed that and made Dune filmable. I'd like to thank everyone who worked on both movies with me, and a massive fuck you to the Oscars for snubbing me for Best Director, but no worries, because even though I haven't won any Oscars, I'm still going to make movies like Dune Messiah. Okay, I'm now going to give the stage to the Marvel Nerd. Once again, thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Denis Villeneuve, for your amazing speech. Now, let's talk about your groundbreaking movie, Dune Part 2. Now, I know this is strange, especially since a few years ago, I did upload a video about Dune Part 1, but then after when I read the book, I did make another video talking about how my opinion has changed about Dune Part 1, but now, we're not on about Dune Part 1. That was a long time ago. I'm a different man. Now, Dune Part 2. First of all, this movie was a masterpiece. Not only the performances from Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Javier Bardem, Stellan Skarsgård were absolutely fantastic. But not only that, but I loved how Zendaya had more screen time in Dune Part 2 compared to Dune Part 1, which makes sense because Chani wasn't really like a huge part of the previous book, but hey, she still did a incredible performance. And not only that, but the cinematography was absolutely amazing. The visual effects were on top of the freaking world. And not only that, but I've watched this movie 3 times in the cinemas this year. And during those 3 times when I was watching Dune Part 2, I literally felt like if I was part of the journey and if I was, right there in the war on Arrakis. And honestly, this movie was brilliant. The music from Hans Zimmer was on point and peak as always, and I'm shocked how he wasn't nominated for Best Original Score, but who cares, because we are better than the Oscars. And I'm surprised how my boy Denis Villeneuve, he didn't get nominated for Best Director, but hey, yeah, I see you. You got the award, so pat on the back, Denny. Pat on the back. Austin Butler as Fade Rafa was absolutely menacing, and I've never been terrified over a villain since Heath Ledger's Joker. And honestly, Fade Rafa was an absolute menace in Dune Part 2. Sure he didn't have that much screen time in the movie, but still, every time Fade Rafa was on screen, I was terrified of him, and I think he did a very good performance as playing as this psychotic Harkonnen, and I'm surprised how Austin Butler wasn't nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Dune Part 2, because I really thought that Dune Part 2 was going to get most of the Oscars, but no, that's very unfortunate. But hey, fuck the Oscars, because over here, we're better. We nominate the better movies, so yeah. But anyways, since after Dune Part 2, I went straight back home just to finish off the rest of the book, because I didn't fully finish the book. But not only that, but for my 16th birthday, my sister got me Dune Messiah, and Denis Villeneuve. I am looking forward to see how the saga continues in Dune Messiah. And yeah, Dune Part 2 was a blast, and my final rating for Dune Part 2 is a 9.9 out of 10. This was a groundbreaking movie, and I don't even know how they made this, but this has been a very interesting road for Dune, because I remember first I was a Dune hater, then I read the book, and now I'm officially a Dune lover. So yeah, Atreides. All right, that wraps up my my top 10 best movies of 2024 list. Thank you all for coming to the Golden Star stage, and I know it may not be the Golden Triangle stage, but hey, no worries, we had fun, and I had a good time making this video for you guys, and I'm sorry that it took 3 weeks, so yeah, but no worries. So, thank all of you fake people from stock footages, thank you all for coming, and thank you for watching my video and just me talking about movies, just having a fun time. So, yeah. Alright. Best gods, take me away. What? How come I'm still here? Wait. Why do I have a remote? Alright, fine. I hope this works. Man, I'm just hoping that this takes me home. Wait, what's that ticking noise? Why does teleportation get so weird every time when I come home? But anyways, thank you guys for watching my top 10 best movies of 2024. And yeah, make sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to follow my Instagram and my Letterboxd, and I'll see you guys next time. And just like what I said last year, same time next year? Hell yeah. Honestly, this is like a tradition. This is like Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you guys celebrate. Comment down below. But anyways, I'm gonna go now, and I might go to sleep for a bit just after that very confusing experience. So yeah, subscribe.